What's up, guys? Mike Olson from the Moody Olson team, as always, with my partner Justin Moody.
Hello.
And today we are here to tell you about our favorite museums here in the city of Las Vegas. We like to mix it up. We like to tell you guys a little about the housing market, a little about the food, a little about the entertainment, and in this case, we're talking a little bit about education, right? Spend a day out with your family, go and learn some cool new stuff. It's a great time for everybody. Let's go ahead and get it started. Both Justin and I brought a few of our favorite museums to the table to talk about it. So Justin, I'm going to throw it over to you. What do you got for us first?
All right. I'm going to start with the Las Vegas Neon Museum, or they call it the Neon Boneyard.
Great choice.
It's up on North Las Vegas Strip, and basically it houses old neon signs and history of Las Vegas. So it's not just signs, but they'll have different memorabilia from older casinos, and they do tons of tours. Either just the general admission tours, or you can pay extra for additional tours, and they walk you through and really talk about the history of Las Vegas. The Neon Museum, because of what it is, opens later in the day. It opens at 4 p.m. From 4 p.m. to 6:30 is considered daytime hours, so you're looking at about $20. After 6:30 p.m. to midnight, you're looking at nighttime hours, so it's about $28. Now, they do have several different additional tours. Those are about 45 minutes, and those do come with an additional cost depending on how many people are in the tour. They'll walk you through the signs that are famous from the commercials and the movies. There's the Viva Las Vegas tour, and that really is, if you're into cinema, then that's probably the additional tour that you're going to want to take.
That would be the one I would do, probably.
Yeah. So they'll take you they're going to take you through all the exhibits, and there's a little over 800 neon signs there, and about 150 of them are actually been restored and working. So they're going to take you by all these different signs that have been made famous by movies like Casino.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorites.
Viva Las Vegas, Honey, I Blew Up the Kids. Movies like that. They're gonna take you by these signs. They're gonna show you the signs, and they're gonna give you the history behind it.
That's fantastic. You know what I love about the Neon Museum is that Las Vegas is a city that is constantly reinventing itself. And the sad reality of that is that a lot of the historic properties end up getting torn down.
Yeah.
The Tropicana just got torn down, right? And we're turning the Mirage into the new Hard Rock, I believe.
Yep.
Right? But the point is that you need a place like the Neon Museum to hold on to that connection to the past, because otherwise it just gets bulldozed in the name of progress. So I'm really, really glad that we have something like that helps us, hold on to our roots here in Las Vegas and remind us of, days gone by.
Yes. And the minute you get there, you haven't been there yet, right?
I have not been there yet. No.
I was there a couple years ago. The minute you get there, the whole experience really starts. You go to the visitor center, and I'm going to say this name wrong, but it was the old Conchita Hotel. And basically what it is when you walk in, the lobby of the hotel, which was designed by, and I want to make sure I get his name right, Paul Revere Williams.
Okay.
He was the architect, and it looks like a big conch shell.
Okay.
And this hotel is obviously long gone, but Paul Revere Williams was actually the first black architect to design something in Las Vegas.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yes. So the whole experience really starts off the minute you get there. I can remember when I went, we were probably there for about 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. It is an outdoor venue. So it's an outdoor venue because these signs are massive. Depending on the weather, they may not be open. So I'd always definitely check before you go to make sure they are open. On a hot day like today, they're going to open later. If it's raining or a thunderstorm, they may not be open when you want to go. They may wait for those storms to pass. So you definitely want to make sure that you check out their website before you go.
Right on. So speaking about maintaining our connection to the past, my first museum is actually my favorite museum here in Las Vegas. It is the National Museum of Organized Crime and Law Enforcement, better known as the Mob Museum. The Mob Museum, if you haven't been there, it's actually located in the old Clark County Courthouse, where many of the mobsters that are talked about in the museum were actually held on trial.
Okay.
And it is just an absolutely fantastic way to spend an afternoon. The museum itself opened in 2012. It's open every day, 12 hours a day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Cost of entry is relatively reasonable at about $30 a person for adults. There's lots of discounts available. If I remember correctly, when I took my family there, being that I'm a military veteran, I believe I saved about $5 or so per person because of that veterans discount that I was able to get. I could be wrong. Check the website for the exact pricing. But that museum is absolutely chock full of fantastic historical, educational content related to the history of Las Vegas. And let's face it, Las Vegas is a town built on the back of the mob.
Yes.
Right? And the mob ties in this town run deep. So the whole museum is just absolutely filled with fantastic artifacts relating to the history of mob activity in Las Vegas, which again runs very, very deep. They have all sorts of authentic exhibits. They have interactive exhibits, including it's not functional, but they have an interactive exhibit of an electric chair. They have exhibits such as, I remember they had an exhibit that had all of the equipment that would be carried by a police officer from Las Vegas or a sheriff from Las Vegas back in, say, like the 1960s, at the height of mob Vegas, the height of Rat Pack Vegas, right? The time period that a lot of people think of when they think of Las Vegas and its association with the mob. Again, it's held in a historic building, the old Clark County Courthouse. And if you go into the actual courtroom, they have it's still set up as a courtroom, and you can sit there in the benches and they have videos playing up on the walls of the actual mob trials.
Okay.
So you can sit there and watch these snippets of these old mob trial videos where you can learn about just the history of Las Vegas and its connection to the mob. They hold all sorts of special events. My personal favorite, and this was going on when I visited, they have actual mobsters from the 70s and 80s who come in and they hold talks.
Okay.
And they'll tell you about their interactions with famous mobsters. They'll tell you about their interactions with mobsters like the ones that you would see in the movie Casino, right? And they'll tell you about, hey, this is how this guy was. This is how that guy was. This was my relationship with that guy. And they're very open. They won't tell you their names.
Why?
But they'll tell you about the history of the mob in Las Vegas. And I don't know this, but I assume that these guys are actually vetted by the museum. It's not just some chucklehead who came in and said, yeah, I was in the mob. I'm sure that they have some way of vetting that the guys who come in here and give these talks were authentic Las Vegas mobsters. But man, it is just the best way, in my opinion, to spend an afternoon here. Get out of the heat, get into the air conditioning, and learn something about the absolutely fantastic history of this town. Then go home and fire up Casino and watch that on the TV because, man, that is just one of my all-time favorite movies.
Now, do they have like actual photos of like Las Vegas's former mayor defending them? Oscar Goldman was a big time attorney before he became mayor of Las Vegas, and he actually defended several of these.
I believe he's in the video clips.
Okay. Yeah.
If I remember correctly. It's been about a year since the last time I went to the museum, but I believe he does feature prominently in the old video clips that they show of the trials.
Now, isn't there, I don't know if we're going to have to put this in or not, isn't there a speakeasy door at the bottom of the museum as well?
I believe they have something like a whiskey tasting room.
Yes.
Or something like that. I didn't look too deeply into that when I went there. I was there with my kids. It was it was like a Sunday afternoon.
Gotcha.
It wasn't exactly whiskey drinking time for me.
Gotcha.
But I do believe that I saw something about having like a whiskey tasting room, and I think they actually have like various events that they hold there. Look it up on the website, guys. Don't quote me on that. But I'm telling you, if you're here in Vegas, whether you live here or you're just visiting, the Mob Museum is well worth your time.
All right. So the next one that I want to bring up is one that I probably go to the most, being that I am the father of a young child. My daughter's 5. We spend a lot of time at the Children's Discovery Museum, actually the Children's Discovery Center, probably at least once a month, if not once a month, once at least every other month. I actually bought the annual pass. It was only $85 for Las Vegas residents.
Total deal.
Yeah, so it really works out. That covers me and my daughter when we go. The Discovery Museum is almost downtown, not very far from the Mob Museum. It's closer to the Arts District, and it's just a beautiful building. Really easy access to get to, plenty of parking garages to get to. There's a couple of restaurants right across the street that are actually pretty good as well. My daughter even enjoys them. And it's affordable. It's $13.50 for Las Vegas or Nevada residents. So when you move here and you change over that license and you become a Las Vegas resident, you show that ID and you get in for $13.50. A really good deal. Now this is a huge building. It's actually 4 stories, and each story has a different activity for the kids. They are open Monday through Sunday from 10 to 5. Actually, I think Sunday they close a little early, but usually it's 10 to 5, 10 to 6, Monday through Sunday. So each floor has different activities. The first floor is my daughter's hands down favorite.
Well, what do they got?
They got the power of water. You walk into this room, and the first thing you notice is they have rain jackets.
That's concerning.
So first thing I do, I suit my daughter up in her rain jacket, which she absolutely loves to wear. And then they have just these big pools of water that have different mechanical items in them to show the power of water. So her favorite is the ball blaster. They have the little plastic balls that you find in like a McDonald's or a Chuck E. Cheese. And you put that in the tube and it shoots it up, and then it runs along a railing up on the top, and then it falls down. She goes and gets it and does it again. The other one has blocks that you can put in to divert water into different directions.
Okay.
And the other one has squirt guns where you can squirt at a target and it moves that target. And it really just kind of shows how strong water is.
It really reinforces that tactile learning.
That too, absolutely. So it's really hard to get her out of that to see the rest of the museum when we go. And we've been probably 7 or 8 times, and still it's that room. She knows all the great stuff that's coming, but she still wants to be in that room. We usually move from that room over to what I call Fairyland. And they have a pirate ship, and they have a princess castle, and then they have tons of costumes. So she can dress up like a pirate, or she can dress up like a princess, and she can climb to the top of the castle, or she can get on the pirate ship and shoot the cannon at targets, and hoist up the line and bring the goods up to the ship. She just absolutely loves that. They also have a theater in there so the kids can put on plays. They're all dressed up. It has sound equipment, has light equipment. You can go over and press the button and you can hear thunder and rain and wind and all sorts of great things. She loves to spend a lot of her time over there playing. And then we go up to the next floor. Actually, it's two floors up after that. So on the 3rd floor, they have an art room. So you can go in there and they have different types of art projects that you can make. So they have, simple things like Play-Doh, crayons, but then they get into more the messy arts, as I like to call them.
Messier than Play-Doh?
Yes, I like to call them the messy arts, as the father of a 5-year-old. So they have like acrylic paints, they have watercolors, different things that you can do, and then they have a big machine.
Is she still wearing the rain suit?
I wish. They need to put like a schmuck in there or something for her. So she can go in there and she could do her paintings. And then they have a big machine where you can take the paper over there, you run it through it, and it dries it for you.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's very cool. And the proof is at my house. If you go to my house looks like an art gallery. On every wall, I have drawings from either the museum or things that we've done at home. So it's just a great time.
If you look just right over here, just off of camera, I have one of Reagan's masterpieces on my board right there.
That's right. You do have one of her masterpieces, yes.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to be gifted one of her fine pieces of art.
She does love Mike. There's some other really great things there. They have a pretend grocery store where you can go in and you can pick out your groceries, go up to the register and check them out. What I love is they actually have a staff member standing there reminding the kids when they check them out, please go put it back. So I love that. And then they have different areas. So if you wanted to get into more of the advanced stuff for some of the older kids that we haven't gone into yet.
Yeah.
That deals with like the power of electricity, some woodworking, making paper airplane, things like that. Some more engineering and scientific stuff that Reagan's just not quite into that yet. So the Discovery Museum, I would say hands down, especially if you're a parent of a young one, is some place that you're definitely going to look into. And I would suggest just get the annual membership. It's worth it. All you have to do is really go like 5 times. And it pays for itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned your museum had a pretend grocery store.
Yes.
Well, my next museum is a pretend grocery store.
Okay.
Right? So if you guys aren't familiar, my next museum is called Omega Mart.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't know what Omega Mart is located at Area 15, which is just north of Raider Stadium, so on the other side of the freeway from the Strip.
Yep.
And it is an interactive modern art exhibit by an art collective out of New Mexico called Meow Wolf. And it was opened in February of 2021. And what this is, it's virtually impossible to actually describe Omega Mart if you've never been there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it my best shot, and we're gonna get you guys some B-roll that I'm sure the editors are gonna put in this video for you. But you really have to go there to wrap your head around Omega Mart. When I say it's a modern art exhibit, it is that in every sense of the word. So for the record, it costs $49 for adults, and it's a little bit cheaper than that for kids, and they do have some discounts available. I think there's a locals discount. I think they also have a military discount. But Omega Mart, you walk in through the front door, and you are in what appears to be a small grocery store. And that small grocery store is filled with items that are just a little off. Like, you pick something up, you think it's one thing, and then you pick it up and you examine it, and it's not actually what you think it is. You can explore this front grocery store area, and as you explore, what ends up happening is you end up discovering these secret passages, right? Through things like the refrigerator, through things like the janitor's closet. And these passages lead you into the main art exhibit, which is actually this warehouse-sized complex, multi-level complex that just gets stranger and stranger the further back that you go. I'm not even going to begin to attempt to describe everything that you're going to see in Omega Mart. What I am going to say is it's well worth an afternoon of your time and the cost of entry to go experience it for yourself. I took my kids there, and we were there for several hours, and we had an absolute blast. And for you adults, there's a little extra secret in there. If you can find it, there's a secret speakeasy bar inside the art exhibit where they make just some really, really interesting cocktails. They're not cheap. I will warn you that. I believe Stasha and I had maybe 2 drinks apiece, and I think those drinks were between $15 and $20 each.
Okay.
So
strip pricing for sure.
It's definitely strip pricing on the cocktails. I mean, it's strip pricing on the entry as well. I mean, $50 for entry into an art exhibit is pretty steep.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth it if you've never been. I highly recommend it. I've already been. I definitely plan on going again in the future. There's so much more to explore that I didn't get a chance to see. There's all sorts of various art exhibits. There's like a mystery that you have to solve using your phone to scan these like hidden codes around the exhibit. Like I said, guys, I am not nearly doing it justice by describing it. Jump on the internet, take a look at their website, and more importantly, if you have the opportunity, take your family and go check it out. Area 15, Omega Mart by Meow Wolf. Well worth the time, well worth the price of admission. I highly recommend it. Justin, what do you got?
Well, I know that you wanted to talk about the next museum as well. I want to put in a little bonus footage for everybody because we are talking about Area 15. Just north of Area 15, almost adjacent to it, coming soon, and you can look this up. It just was announced, I mean, like a year ago maybe. Universal Studios is building a theme park.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Now, it's not your typical theme park. This is kind of be based on their Monsterverse. So like their villains and their monsters it's going to be in this huge warehouse. It's going to be basically a indoor walking type of exhibit. They haven't announced any rides or anything crazy like that, but it's supposed to be a very large space.
That's fantastic. Do you know anything about like the timeline of that?
They've been kind of vague on the details, but last time I read about it, because it just made me think about it, was 2028 is when they're hoping to open.
All right. Well, I'll definitely be in line for that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. So I do have one more museum for you guys. And this museum, very unique to Las Vegas. I absolutely love it. It is also very close to the Arts District, much like the Children's Museum, and also much like the Mob Museum, and also just like the Mob Museum. However, it's just to the east of the Arts District. And this museum is Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. Now, if you don't know who Zach Bagans is, he is a TV host. He has a show on cable TV about something regarding ghosts and haunted. I'm not sure. I'm not a big TV watcher. I watch baseball, I watch pro wrestling, and that's about it. And then I have a few shows I like to watch on Netflix. I'm not really surfing.
And then our videos on YouTube, of course.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Of course. I'm not really surfing cable a whole lot, so watching shows about ghosts on cable is not my thing. But going to museums definitely is my thing. And Zach Bagan has a fantastic museum right here in the heart of Las Vegas, just east of the Arts District. In case you're interested in the Illuminati, it's actually right next door to the oldest Masonic lodge here in the city of Las Vegas. And they actually share some parking space there.
They do.
But Zach Bagan's Haunted Museum opened in October of 2017. It's open every day from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and it costs $48 per person, although there are discounts available. And what the museum is, it is a collection of haunted artifacts.
Okay.
So Zach himself, and the reason I know a lot of this information, I actually listened to a podcast where it was it's called Talk is Jericho, the Chris Jericho podcast.
Okay.
And he interviewed the daily operations manager of the museum.
Okay.
And so I got to learn a little bit about how they find their artifacts and what they do to verify their provenance. And it's an extensive amount of research that they go through before they accept an artifact into the museum. And they go around the world to find the best artifacts to put into this museum. For instance, some of the artifacts in this museum, they have an artifact called the Dabuk box, which is a piece of furniture that is supposedly haunted and causes ill effects on people who have been near it. They have a haunted doll that supposedly causes people to become ill. They make you sign a waiver before they let you view the doll.
Interesting.
Right. They have the rear axle from the car James Dean died in.
Okay.
In the museum. They have possibly what's, in my opinion, the creepiest article in the museum. They have Dr. Kevorkian's death van in the museum. Like, how crazy is that? This place is absolutely filled. If you're a fan of the paranormal, if you're a fan of spooky stuff, if you are into any of these sort of things, Zach Bagans is an absolutely must-visit location here in Las Vegas. They have items from Michael Jackson. They have items from Charles Manson. They have interactive exhibits, and the whole museum is located in an old mansion that itself is supposedly haunted. The age is restricted. You have to be 16 years old to go into the museum. Now, that's because they say that the museum is actually too intense for younger children.
It's probably too intense for me.
Might be too intense for you. They do offer guided tours. I know it's a little spendy at $48 a person, but if you're into the paranormal, if you're into the supernatural, if you're into the spooky, Zach Bagans Museum is an absolute must visit. Check it out, guys. So that's going to conclude our list on the best museums to visit here in Las Vegas, whether you're a local or whether you're here on vacation. Guys, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that bell icon so you get notified whenever we put out a new video. We put out 2 videos every week of the best Las Vegas locals-based and real estate-based content, because we want to make sure that you have the information you need to know if you are moving to Las Vegas. Make sure that you reach out to us here at the Moody Olson team if you are thinking about moving here, whether it's next week, next month, or next year. We will work as hard as absolutely possible in order to make sure that you and your family find your dream home here in the Las Vegas Valley. If you need help with lending, reach out to our partners Steve Schauer and Linda Vo at Security National Mortgage. They're the best in the business. Steve's been doing this for over 20 years right here in Las Vegas. They can help you find out what you qualify for, what rate you qualify for, and they can give you the roadmap. If you don't have what you need right now to get your dream home, sit down and talk with Steve and Linda. They can help you get there. They can show you the path to get there. Remember, guys, until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm Justin.
And we're out of here.